Hello everyone, it's Miss Henderson here. Today we're going to be doing a lesson which is based around your Three Little Pigs story that you have been reading in your fairy tale topic. Okay, so we're going to learn about the materials that the pigs used to build their houses. Can anyone remember what the materials were? Okay, so we had sticks, straw and bricks. So we're going to learn everything about those materials, such as the five senses, so what they might smell like, what they look like, if they make a sound and what they feel like. And we're also going to learn how to write them and how to say them. So we're going to go through some of the phonics, and we're also going to do a little bit of maths. So we're going to compare the lengths of some of them and weigh them as well and compare them. We also might do some science, so we'll do if they float or if they sink in water, and we are going to look at where the materials come from. So we'll have a look at where they come from, what they might be used for, and where we can find them in the world as well. Right, for the next part we're going to go through our 3 key words and how to write them and say them. So if you with your grown-up copy what I have wrote on my board in your precursive writing, and we will practice going through them letter by letter and blend the word together. So if we do stick, it is st-ick, and that is st-ick, and that makes stick. So if we keep repeating that one to our grown-ups, and I would love you to write them out as well in your precursive writing, just so we can get some practice. And our next key word is straw. There we have straw. So if I spell this one out for you, we have st-r-aw, st-r-aw, and that makes straw. And that is our next keyword, and if you could write that one out as well in your lovely precursive writing. And our final keyword is brick. And if we spell this one out, we have b-r-ick, b-r-ick, and that makes brick, and that is our final keyword that we will keep repeating throughout the lesson. Okay, so now we're going to talk about where we can find straw, sticks and bricks in the world and what they're used for. Okay, so we'll start with straw, and we're going to talk about where we might be able to find it. Does anyone know where straw comes from or where we can find it in the world? Okay, let you have a little think and talk to your grown-up and talk about where you think it might come from. Okay, so straw comes from farms. Okay, so farmers, they harvest their fields of the grain that's on the fields, and straw is what is left over. Okay, so they have straw left over on their fields, and they take all the straw out of the field and they use it for their animals. Okay, so animals actually eat the straw, but it's also used for their bed. Okay, so there's animals like pigs, which are in our 3 Little Pigs story, and there's also sheep, horses and cows, and the farmers use it to feed the animals so that they can have their lunch, and it is also used for their bed. So the farmers put it on the floor for the animals so that they're nice and warm and they're nice and cosy in their farmhouses. Okay, so that is where straw comes from, and that is what it is used for. Okay, so the next things we have are sticks. I think we can all figure out where sticks come from, but have a little talk to your grown-ups and see if you can tell them that where sticks come from. Okay, well done if you said that they come from trees. Okay, sticks fall off the trees in the wind, so the branches that are on the trees, the sticks are on the end of that, and they snap off and they all fall to the floor. So we're very likely to find sticks on the floor. We sometimes find them on the street, sometimes we find them in the park or in your back gardens if you have one. And they're also in the forests and the woods. There's lots of sticks there because there's lots of trees. Okay, so sticks come from trees and off the branches, but we can use sticks for a few different things, but mainly birds use them to make their nests. Okay, so birds get the sticks off the floor, they take them and they carry them away, and they make their own little nests to lay their eggs in. And you can also use them for structures such as like archways in people's gardens, but birds are the main things that use sticks. Okay, so we don't have any bricks in the class today, but if you look outside your house, you'll be able to see that all the houses are made of bricks, which are the big blocks that build the houses. And bricks are actually man-made. So humans are the people that make bricks. It's a mixture of water and clay. It's all moulded together to make a big brick. Okay, so we often find them at builders. So builders use them to build our houses and all the buildings around us. And they build the shops and the restaurants, and everything that we see is built from bricks. Okay, so that is where we find bricks, and that is how they are made as well. Okay, so recently we have been learning about our 5 senses, haven't we? So do we all remember what our 5 senses are? Okay, have a little think and tell your grown-ups and see if you can remember what the 5 senses are. Okay, so well done if you managed to remember them. Our 5 senses are sight, hearing, smell, touch and taste. And we watched the Makaton video of the ladies showing us how to do that in sight. So we have to look, we have hearing, we have smell, we have touch and feel, and we have taste. Okay, so if you can all remember that, that would be brilliant. So now we're going to take our materials and relate them to our senses. So if we look at the straw, we can see that it's golden in colour, that they're all different shapes and different sizes, okay? And we can hear, if you listen to it, it makes a crispy sound. So when we bend the straw, it crunches. And the smell of straw doesn't really smell of much at all. It smells a little bit like a farm. And to touch straw, some parts of it are very smooth, but then other parts of it are rough. So if you can see the smooth parts there, then the rough parts are on the ends. And we are not going to taste the straw because humans do not eat straw. Okay? So now if we look at our sticks, if we look at the sticks, we can see that they are brown. And again, they are all different shapes and bent and different lengths. And sticks don't really make a sound, but if we hit them together, they do make a sound a bit like a drum. And sticks, they don't smell of anything at all. But the feeling of sticks, if we touch them, they are a bit rough. Some of them are smooth, but some of them have bumps and lumps on them, so they are very rough. And again, we are not going to taste the sticks because we do not eat sticks. Okay? So I don't have a brick in the classroom, but bricks, if we look outside and look at the buildings, what colour are the bricks? Okay, most of them are orange or brown. Okay, and bricks don't make a sound either, but if we were to drop a big brick on the floor, it would make a really loud sound and it would probably make our ears hurt. Okay, and bricks don't really smell of anything either. But if we touch a brick, they are very rough. If you go outside and touch a wall, some of the bricks are really rough and they might hurt your fingers. But some of them are smooth, so we can touch them and they won't hurt at all. And again, we're not going to taste the bricks because we do not eat bricks either. Okay, so now we're going to look at lengths and we're going to compare sticks and straw and see which ones are longer and which ones are shorter than each other, just so that we can get used to measuring without a ruler and just compare different lengths together. Okay, so if we start with these 2 pieces of straw, if you look at the screen, which ones is shorter and which one is longer? So if you look at the 2 pieces together, which one is longer and which one is shorter? Okay, brilliant if you said this one is the shorter one and that this one is the longer one. So as you can see, this one is a lot shorter than that one. It's not as tall, it's short, and this one is longer. Okay, so if we get the sticks, which one is shorter and which one is longer? Okay, so we've said that this one was the longest and then this one was the shortest. This one doesn't have the same length as this one. So that one is much longer, and if we measured them, we would be able to see what the difference is. Okay, so now if I get a stick and a bit of straw, which one is longer and which one is shorter? Okay, so brilliant if you said again that this one is the longest one and that this one is the shortest one. So if we compare them together, we can actually see that this one is much more shorter than the stick. Now it's not as tall at all, it's very short in comparison. So if we were to measure them again, we'd be able to see that this one doesn't have the same length. It's probably fit into the straw, into the stick a few times. Right, now comes the fun part of the video. So we are going to test the straw and the sticks and see which ones float and which ones sink in this tub of water that I have here. Okay, so we'll test the materials with each other and we'll see what happens. But first, I want you to make a quick prediction, which is where you will decide which ones you think between the straw and the stick, which ones are going to float and which ones are going to sink. Okay, so have a few moments to talk to your grown-up and tell them which one, what you think will happen to each one. Okay? Right, so now that you've had a little think about that, we will start with the straw. Okay, so if we get some pieces of straw and I'll put them in the water and we will see if they float or if they sink. So I'm going to put it in. Okay, so we haven't seen anything sink to the bottom of the water. So if we take a look, we can see that the straw is floating on top of the water. Okay, so it hasn't gone into the water, it's just sitting on the top of it and floating. Okay, so that tells us that straw isn't very heavy at all. So if it was heavy, it would go into the water and straight down to the bottom of the tub. But it's not, it's staying at the top and it's floating. Okay, so well done if you said that the straw was going to float. So now if we take the sticks and put them in the water, we'll see what happens to them. Okay? Okay, so we can also see that the sticks are floating as well. They're staying at the top of the water just like the straw, and they're not going anywhere, they're just floating on the top of the water. Okay, you see it? Okay, so we can see that both the sticks and the straw float when they're put into water. So they don't fall down to the bottom, they just stay on the top and they float around on the water because they're not very heavy. Okay, so we don't have any bricks in the classroom like I said before, but I do have some coins. So if we pretend that these coins are stones, we're going to put them in the water and we're going to see what happens to them. But before I do that, have a think again and think what you think might happen to them when I put them in the water. Okay, so let's just pretend that these are bricks and we're going to put them in the water and see what happens. Can we see? Did you hear that? So you can hear that the coins, which we're pretending that are bricks, have gone right to the bottom of the tub. So if we put the camera over the top, I'm not sure if you can see, but the coins are right at the bottom of the tub. Okay? So they have gone from the top of the water when I put it in, all the way down right to the bottom. So that means that they have sunk. So bricks would sink if we put them into water. Okay, so that is the end of today's lesson about sticks, straw and bricks. I think that we have learned a lot in today's lesson. We've learned about the 5 senses, so what they look like, what they might smell like, what they feel like, and if they make a sound as well. Okay, so we've learned about that, we've learned about where they come from and where we might find them, and what they're used for, which I think is very useful to know. And we've also done a little experiment about floating and sinking, and we've saw which ones float at the top of the water and which ones sink all the way to the bottom. Okay, and we've done lengths as well. We've compared the lengths between them, which is very good. Okay, so now when you're reading your 3 Little Pigs story, you'll be able to think about the materials and you'll be able to think, oh, I've learnt that in a lesson and I know what they are and where they come from. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with a question to think about with your grown-ups. Okay, so if you let us know the answers, that would be brilliant. So the question is, which ones do we think are the best for building a house? Okay, so we have already talked about it, but I would like to know which ones you think are the best for building a house. Okay, so after this video, have a think about that and think about which ones you think are the best. Okay, so thank you for listening and I'll see you all soon. Bye.